Each team will be missing its defensive leader due to suspensions when the Golden Knights tangle with the Oilers in game number 5 of the best-of-7 series coming up at T-Mobile Arena tonight. Which club will have a bigger hole to fill?
Your Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco along with Chris Golick. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. You can find us on Twitter at Tony Dasco. That's me, a.k.a. Dasco Life. You could find Chris, of course, at TD Chris G, at Locked On VGK, again on Twitter. On YouTube, it's Locked On Golden Knights. Please subscribe there. So as most of you probably know by now, both VGK's Alex Pietrangelo and Edmonton's Darnell Nurse were both suspended by the league on Thursday, stemming from game number 4 incidents, a.k.a. shenanigans. Petro, of course, the slash on the wrist of Leon Draisaitl. Some thought that perhaps he would get away with a slap on the proverbial list, but Pietrangelo is going to be sitting out tonight's game, and Nurse played the instigator role, as we saw, in the fight with VGK's Nick Hague, despite saying Hague challenged him to a fight first. So, Chris, which player will be missed the most by its team going into pivotal game number 5?
The easy answer is Darnell Nurse, and I say that because Edmonton's defense is not as deep as the Vegas Golden Knights, and I honestly don't know who comes up now and how they fill that void. Whereas we know in Vegas, Ben Hutton probably gets the call, but it's not a lock, no pun intended, of course. It's not a lock because that's actually the wing or the side that Pahal plays on. So from that perspective, I could see it going both ways. I think they find a way to get Hutton in the lineup because he's been that 7th man up the entire season. But Pahal also did have a very good game against the Winnipeg Jets in that first round. So it can go either way. Pietrangelo, we're going to miss him, no doubt about it. His game's been a little bit strange, but we're going to miss him. But our defense is so much deeper, ours being the Vegas Golden Knights, of course.
Okay. So I feel VGK will definitely miss Pietrangelo more. And we're trying to figure out who draws into the lineup in its place. So remember when they missed Pietrangelo due to, of course, the issues he had and the sickness of his daughter. And so when he was out, I went back and looked at all the box scores and everything. They had a rotation of Ben Hutton. We've seen this before, as you just mentioned. Braden Pahal and Danil Marimanov also got some playing time. What is his status? That's a name that we've kind of lost track of.
Yeah, Miramanov injuries, and he suffered. So basically, he was injured a long time. I saw him behind backstage, if you will, in a scooter in the middle of the season when he was hurt. He actually made it back into the Henderson lineup, and I haven't seen a video of it, but he suffered what they categorized as a pretty gruesome injury that took a long time to even get him off the ice. So unfortunately, Miramanov, I doubt is anywhere even around the team right now. I'm assuming he's rehabbing. I don't know. But it would have been a nice option to have because he certainly can push the pace as far as scoring and, fill the move as a puck mover.
Okay. So we did see where VGK played without Petro and Shea Theodore before, and they'll do the same again in game number 5. That's a bad joke, but Theodore's really struggled of late. Edmonton, I feel, okay, here's my argument, my counterpoint, if you will. Edmonton might not be missing Darnell Nurse as much as fans might think because of one reason, because Jay Woodcroft goes with a structure of 11-7. He went with 12-6 in the last game, might have crossed up VGK a little bit in their approach. But again, this is what they've used for most of the season. And so we will see perhaps Philip Broberg draw back in. 8 games, and he's a +3 in the postseason. And of course, they didn't use him the other night because they just pared it down to 6. And so last year, this is the same team, Edmonton. If you go back in game number 6 against the Kings, it was the shenanigans of Nurse. You probably remember this, the headbutt on Philip Deneau. And so they had to play without him. And then Broberg came in and they wound up winning that game. So for me, I really do believe that I believe VGK is going to miss. They're going to miss Pietrangelo a little bit more, I think, than the Oilers might be missing Darnell Nurse. Now, the thing about both of those players is that they are emotional leaders and they play the most minutes on the defensive side. Each one of those players plays a lot of minutes for the defense. And so I think that is a key point that we have to make about this game. Did either of the suspensions surprise you? It was pretty much an arm for an arm or whatever, an eye for an eye. However it worked out, I think that they had to level this out. I just don't like all the shenanigans from the NHL in waiting all day. The 5 o'clock news dump while they're announcing the NFL schedules. Are they thinking that they can challenge the NFL, which is almighty? It just, I don't know. Just help me unpack all of that nonsense yesterday.
At face value, I think when everything happened, when you look at the rules, it felt like 1-for-1 was the way to go, and we move forward. I put it out there.
I'm sorry, a slash for a slash.
A slash for a slash. There you go. I put it out there that 1-for-1, and it made it easier to suspend Pietrangelo, knowing Nurse was probably getting suspended. But here's the weird thing: I was doing some late investigating, and credit to Mark Spector for helping me out as well. One lead Edmonton writers, awesome follow, by the way. But October 22nd is either the 22nd or the 30th. Chicago Blackhawks are playing, and this is when Max Domi was still a Blackhawk before that trade happened. So end of the game, Patrick Kane is boarded, but it was a pretty gruesome board because there was a player falling down in front of him and it looked really bad. So I think there was like 3:22 left in the game, if I'm not mistaken. And here comes Max Domi from across the ice, chasing the player down that checked Patrick Kane. And it's not like he goes right to him. The player goes this way at first, then he goes this way, then he goes this way. So here's Max Domi just chasing this guy all around the ice. And if he gets to him, drops the gloves, we have a fight. Domi is given an instigator penalty. Domi is not suspended for this. The video is up on Locked On. I put it out late last night. Go back and look at one of the most recent comments that were tagged in. And you tell me if you watch that video and then you watch the video of Darnell Nurse coming in from the blue line. Now, forget the nonsense about them chirping before the face-off and all that. Let's drop all that. Just compare the two videos, tick for tack, slash for slash, if you will. And you tell me if it makes sense as to why Darnell Nurse is suspended. And if the answer is, well, they suspended Pietrangelo, so why not? No, that's not the right answer. If it's, well, look what Kane's been getting away with the entire series. You got to do something, right? No, that's not the right answer either. So at first you read the rule, okay, you got an instigator at the end of the game. It doesn't meet any of the other weird metrics, fine, whatever. But then when you watch this video, it's hard to understand why Max Domi did not get a suspension and why Darnell Nurse did get a suspension. If I'm an Oilers fan, I'm pissed off right now about that. I'm sorry. And I'm a Vegas Golden Knights fan saying this. If I'm an Oilers fan, I think the Oilers got absolutely hosed on Nurse getting a suspension. And that is completely independent from Pietrangelo doing what he did, which warranted at least a 1-game suspension.
What if, okay, so Kane, of course, boards Alex Pietrangelo. And what if in retaliation we saw Petro do this to Kane? I think it might have been more acceptable. Sportsnet, by the way, yesterday also pointed out that during the season, there were 5 total instigator penalties at the end of games, and there were no suspensions.
I thought it was 2. I think it's 2.
Okay, so 2 it was 2. I can't read my writing. So 2. Okay, so 2 instigator. 2 looks like a 5 here. It's early in the day. Okay.
I watched the other one too.
Okay, so 2 of them.
I watched the other one, and that one, when you read like the next layer, it seemed like the refs didn't need to give an instigator for that one. It was more of a square up situation. I think the refs were just throwing out instigators. So that one, I understand them looking back and saying, okay, this wasn't as bad, don't suspend the guy. But Max Domi, like a lot of times, folks, you see me kind of look up into the distance here. I actually have a background from a picture I took in a game. It's a canvas I use as my background when I'm streaming for my sports cards, and it's the hockey rink. It's the Golden Knights rink with my logo and stuff on it. So a lot of times I look up and I'm kind of like, okay, he started here and went there. So when you see me looking off to the distance, that's what I'm doing right now.
We don't have a telestrator today, by the way. And then I like when you were doing the skating action there.
So yeah, see, when you skate, like you should really have your knees bent and nice strides.
Okay, but VGK was like
I don't bend my
the
knees.
Other night. VGK was like this. They skated kind of slow. Will we see a much quicker, faster VGK team tonight? Because when you go back to what Bruce Cassidy said in his reflection, this is going off the rails already. It's WTF. So what Cassidy said was the reason why VGK committed a lot of penalties. Number one, retaliation. Number two, they were skating a little bit slow.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair statement. They weren't bending their knees; they were skating straight like this, like I skate. No, so it's a very fair statement, and you wonder why teams. You're drawing a picture now. You wonder why teams like in this series, one team looks good, one team looks bad, and we want best on best. But the reason we're not getting it is because when one team is at their best, they make the other team look like a borderline playoff team, look like the Calgary Flames out there where they're okay sometimes, but they shouldn't even be in the playoffs. And I think that's a credit to when the Oilers are on, how they make the Golden Knights look. And it's also a credit to the Golden Knights for when they're on, how the Oilers look. So back to the comments about the skating and everything. Yes. I mean, when you're skating hard, if you're skating fast, it's hard to catch people and commit penalties. If you are a passenger, which that terminology came out again recently. If you're a passenger, if you're not skating hard, you're going to be holding your hockey stick out and tugging on someone, like you're, when you're on the water, like you're jet skiing, holding on to the thing, and doing the jumps. That's what it's like if you're not chasing the players down.
Okay, so who is Edmonton going to target tonight? And moving forward, with Petro out, they go back to Stone and the cross check. Klim Kostin got a really good piece in defense of Shea Theodore and the retaliation. He got cross checked a bunch in that game, and then he came back with flashes.
I don't care.
I get it. I
don't care.
Okay, Marchessault, he could come unhinged.
I don't care.
He could come unhinged really in a heartbeat, I think, if you really get under the skin of Marchessault.
We've talked about Marchessault before, though.
Michael, who are they going after tonight? They have to
there
go.
Was
they
a
have
game
to mark someone.
In the regular season where Marchessault took like a crazy whack at someone and he missed him. That's honestly, yeah. I think both teams probably got a lot of it out of their system in Game 4. I think tonight's game, I hope at least it's more on the hockey side.
No.
We don't need shenanigans from the drop. We don't need Nick Hague taking out, their third or fourth line winger and playing with 5 defensemen for 5 minutes or anything like that. If Kolesar is a sacrificial lamb and wants to get in a fight and, take someone with them, fine, so be it. I'm okay with that, I guess. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Just if this is the game where Kolesar wants to do that, then that's fine. Let's go ahead and do that. But I don't want to see any of our skill players, even Brett Howden. I don't want to see him dropping the gloves. I want to keep our lines intact as long as possible. I want to see a hockey game tonight. And
you won't.
Maybe not. And credit, we got a lot of Oiler fans commenting right now on our YouTube, and they're being very positive.
And because they're enjoying. We're being very fair, though.
Exactly.
I think in our assessment of what happened,
we try to be. Yeah. I mean, I started the show by saying the Oilers got screwed.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Okay, so how does VGK get a very quick start, because they've had to come back from a goal down in every single game, and then on the power play, we have seen some improvements, and currently, Edmonton just 1 for its last 8 on the power play unit. The one thing, again, that caught my eye, the fact that VGK is doing a better job in collapsing defensively, blitzing the point, I think, and then clearing the zone, which they hadn't done, during the regular season. And that first power play, I could go back to that. Edmonton had VGK cleared the zone 5 times. 5 times they cleared the zone. And like you said, though, you better clear it and go deep, whatever. Clear it out, but make the puck like kind of trickle down to the other end because they come back so fast. They're so fast.
Yeah, like VGK on the power play, if let's say they lose the face-off and the puck gets cleared down, there's 45 seconds left if the VGK make a clean entry and start working on their, moving the puck around the umbrella, trying to find an elbow for a shot. Whereas Edmonton, let's just say Edmonton loses the offensive zone face-off, which doesn't happen too often, but let's just say they do. VGK clears the puck down, right? 2, 3, 4, 5. With like 147 left, they're set up and ready to attack again. And it's a credit to whoever is running that power play. I don't know if that's Woodcroft or one of his coaches. I don't know who does that, honestly. Oiler fans, if you guys do have that, let me know. And I'd love to know the history about that coach. But it's awesome to watch. It really, really is. It's tough to watch when it's our team, but it's awesome to watch it happening. So your original question is, how do the VGK get off to a good start? And I think you have to look at the pockets in games 2 and 4, in games 1 and 3, where the VGK, won those games. And you look at long stretches where VGK is just muddying up the neutral zone, slowing down Edmonton, or going back to Connor McDavid doing his thing. When he's by himself skating in, collapsing to the middle, you don't give him the middle of the ice. You make him go, to one of the 2 circles to get a shot off. And not saying he can't score from there either, but, McDavid on the side versus McDavid coming down Broadway, or maybe Las Vegas Boulevard is a better way to say that, coming down the strip, it's the percentages change a lot when he starts going, east and west versus north and south. So muddy up the neutral zone, slow the game down. Again, our Mark Spector quote, it's not about a race to 5 goals. That's not the perspective that the Vegas Golden Knights need to have. I know it's taken, besides all but 1 game, I guess, 2 games to win that many, but point being is the winning teams are scoring a lot of goals. And focus on one period at a time, focus on one play at a time, focus on one stretch at a time. And it's not about getting 4 goals or 5 goals. It's about playing good defense and getting back to, what got the VGK to this point. And now we're talking about defense. Now this is where Pietrangelo being out might hurt, but Ben Hutton, I think, draws in, and Hutton's going to have strong legs out there. And if it's not Hutton, it could be Pahal, and I'm okay with either one of those. They're going to be fast. They're going to be a little faster than Pietrangelo, honestly speaking. Pietrangelo can move the puck really well, but having Pahal or Hutton to chase down McDavid and Draisaitl isn't. Yes, it's a downgrade. It's a big downgrade, but in a 1 game spot, they might be able to come up with a game plan to have it not hurt that much, if that makes sense.
Okay, so whoever draws in, do they still skate with Martinez, who's slow? You're talking about quicker, of course, skaters, and then you have Martinez, who can.
I think Hutton can go right in with Martinez, if I'm not mistaken. I know the side can matter, but I think Hutton you can put in that spot, and you would level out the minutes a little bit. I hope they don't move all different sets of defensive pairs around to accommodate this. That would make things tougher. It'd be easier if it was Martinez out versus Pietrangelo, no doubt, though.
Coming up next, our predictions and locks of the night. Later on, it is What the Friday with your amazing comments. We'll get to all that when we return right here on Locked On Golden Knights. For a championship team, it's all about making sure that every player is the perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time that you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can make sure that every part that you need fits just right the first time around. Just add your ride to my garage and look for the green check to know which part will fit, or you get your money back. That's right, your money will be returned if it just doesn't fit, because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop at eBay Motors. Audi, again, one of the parts that people need. A lot of my friends have Audis. They go to eBay Motors. There's 122 million parts on there, and you can get your money back if, again, it does not fit. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when you get the right parts, and it's all guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Welcome back to Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen. Don't forget, coming up, we've got our What the Friday segment. It's a little Chris. I see him in the picture. Oh, boy. So Bruce Cassidy said yesterday, before we get into our predictions and locks of the night, he said the physicality of this series doesn't bother him as long as it is clean. I did read a few interesting articles about this series. What do you think of maybe perhaps the NHL utilizing the same officiating crew for each game rather than mixing it up, and then they each change their positions on the ice? What do you think of that, Mr.
So
Referee?
first question, I'm glad you actually brought that up. A neighbor of mine, Misty, who called you spicy yesterday, by the way, Tony, she acknowledged you were very spicy yesterday. Are they changing the officials every game, or do we have the same crew start to finish?
They change them, right? They do change them.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Yes,
I told her I was going to look
them.
it up, and I forgot. So
they change each crew.
Okay. So they're changing them. So you're saying how is it if they use the same crew?
Should they utilize?
It's tough
Major League
because
Baseball, don't they use the same crew and then they just switch positions?
Right, they move them around, right? But where
Exactly.
referees, like, I don't think the referees move around from ref to line. Like, I don't think Wes McCauley's working the lines at all these days. I mean, there's two ways to look at that. If the penalties, like in a 7-game series, if they end, 58-12, that's going to cause a lot of issues if you got the same ref the entire time, the same crew, versus if you have different crews, then obviously the problem isn't the one crew. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I like different crews.
It is not a matter, folks, it's just my opinion. It's not a matter of if these games are close or blowouts that we're having these penalties. I believe it's up to the officials, it's up to the referees to make the calls early, to make a statement in the games, and to get things under control.
Sometimes you can't stop it, though.
They were not in control of, especially of the last game.
Was there any control to be had?
Yeah, if you start sending players to the box, I think,
But that sometimes, Tony, I'll tell you right now, that enrages them more sometimes. That enrages them
more fired up.
You have grown men out there
when they go to
making their own decisions. Let them kill each other sometimes.
They go to timeout, and they should be chilled by the time they're back on the
not
ice.
how it works, but I hear what you're saying.
Okay.
Chris, when I send him to timeout, sometimes it works, but not the 15 years older version of this guy. When he's in the NHL, it's not going to work.
I keep telling you, it never works.
Okay, and little Chris is going through a growth spurt. We can see that. He's going to fill up our entire screen here pretty soon. With that being said, I will go with my prediction and my locks of the night. And I'm going to go, don't hate me, don't be a hater. I'm going to go with a 5-2 Edmonton win. And I'm going to take Eichel and Amadio. Those will be my two players. Amadio's been really quiet. Oh, what about Vegas Bjorn? He's been awfully quiet too. I have him under a half goal. And I'm going to tell you what, I might double down right now. If he scores a goal, I will wear a Carlson jersey on this very show.
Oh, good Lord.
What is Carlson doing playing the bumper? Come on. That's
perfect.
That's a bad fit. That's a bad fit for VGK. Go ahead.
All right. So I'm sticking with my original prediction. I think Vegas is going to drop tonight's game, but then they're going to win the next 2 games to advance. So that's what we're going to go with. I'm going to go 4-3 Edmonton tonight. Close game, but I think Edmonton is going to eke this one out. Just a hunch. I hope I'm wrong. I'll be there tonight, and I really hope I'm wrong. Chris is mad at me right now. So we're going 4-3 Edmonton. Just because you said it, I will take Carlson. And on top of Carlson, let's go with Carrier. We need to get him going right now. So maybe this will do it. All right, Chris, score and who's doing what tonight. Get a little closer so they can see it.
And I'm the only one that's gonna vote the Golden Knights are gonna win today.
Yeah, you are.
What's the score gonna be?
2-0.
Wow. Who's scoring the goals?
Howden and Amadio.
Ooh, those are good picks right there.
Oh,
like he's not
mic drop.
He goes deep there, and he's out. He's gone. He's out of here.
I'm a Vegas fan. Expect it.
He's a Vegas fan.
He's a Vegas fan. He's leaving before the end of the show. My goodness.
Oh,
Okay. Does Teddy Bluger
that's
draw in
great.
tonight? You and I both want the Booger man. We want him to play.
Yeah, he should go for my yeah. Okay, so if Carrier gets scratched for Bluger, then I reserve the right to change my pick. I've been calling for Bluger to draw in for Carrier. I honestly don't think it happens. I think now if the wires become unraveled this game, then maybe it's a different story. But I do think of Cast. I mean, listen, VGK's played 2 really decent games and 2 really bad games with this lineup. So the lineup isn't the issue. The lineup's not the issue right now. It's about execution. And really, whichever team gets to their game first wins. End of story. End of story.
Public enemy number 1 is going to have a big role in this game. I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked if they drop the gloves right from the get-go. Would not be shocked. I don't think you say it could be a clean game. I think it's going to be back to shenanigans.
No, I hope it's going to be a clean game. I hope both teams play hockey at least for a while.
Yeah,
I think they got a lot of it out of their system, but it only takes one thing to change that. And Draisaitl, he's no angel in all this. There's a lot of videos of him surfacing about slashes and whacks behind plays after the whistle goes and all that. So, give him some of that back. Give him some of that back. Don't do what Pietrangelo did, but you can give him some back. You can give McDavid some. You can give anyone some, because the second our guys go near the crease, Edmonton's going to give it to Mark Stone. They're going to give it to anyone who's within breathing space of Skinner. So do the same. It's okay. It's okay.
Don't go away. Stay right there, because it is that time of the week. It is WTF. What the Friday? And we've got some great comments. Of course, most of them are about Pietrangelo and the slash, and of course, Nurse and Kane. So don't go away. We'll return with that right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Welcome back to Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. We appreciate you making us your first listen each and every day. And thanks so much for going to our YouTube channel and subscribing. Everything is cooking now, as they say. Okay, so it is that time of the week. WTF, what the stinking Friday? I'll just start off with something simple. Okay, so if you watched the other night, VGK was locked out of their own locker room as ESPN is like, here's the arrival of the Vegas Golden Knights, and they're awesome. Yanking on the door and knocking on the door and all that. So this has been a series of retaliation. Does VGK lock out? Do they lock out the Oilers? Or do they mess with the exercise bikes again? Maybe take the wheels off? What would be a good comeback for the Vegas Golden Knights? Receipts. This is a series of receipts. Don't forget about it. Hashtag WTF.
I want to see chants inside the door when it opens with a foghorn, like a boat horn. Just a second, they open the door. There you go. Perfect.
That would be kind of funny. Or showgirls.
Yeah, there's something. Listen, they could do something. Yes, it's not going to be something like that, but there could be something in good spirits done, and just a little reminder. Hey, okay, fine. You're in Vegas now, and fun, not over the top, nothing, no competitive advantage, something that makes both teams smile. It could be fun. With all this hate and animosity, everything happening between the two clubs and the fans, it can be fun. We can have fun too, folks. So that'd be kind of cool, actually. You mentioned we'll start with the drama between Pietrangelo and Kane. So VGK fans, stop making excuses for what Pietrangelo did. But Kane got away with this, but Kane this, but Kane that. Who cares what Evander Kane did? Pietrangelo made a very dangerous play, something very unbecoming of someone who wears a letter for this team going into Game 5 of a very important series where whoever wins this series becomes the odds-on Stanley Cup favorites. You cannot have your $7 million, $8 million, whatever he makes for the next 14 seasons or whatever Pietrangelo's contract is. You cannot defend what he did. Well, they missed this cross-check on Evander Kane. I don't care. They missed a board on Evander Kane. It wasn't a board. Pietrangelo turned his body. I'll save that, actually. So, yeah. So stop making excuses for what Pietrangelo did. WTF, Golden Knight fans.
Okay, WTF. I have to go back to this one because I've had editors over the year. I've had news directors that it just would have been unacceptable. none of the Las Vegas media members asked the question to Cassidy about Pietrangelo. This is just getting under my skin.
Yeah, it is.
How could you just ignore the entire question? It's a national story. Thinking Elliot Friedman, everyone is tweeting about it. It's all over the news, and no one asked the question about Pietrangelo and the slash following game number 4. Unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. WTF.
I've sat in a few of those. I did about 15 games this season on the media side.
You would have asked the question. You would have asked the question, Mr.
Probably.
Pollock. Of course you would have.
But I also wonder if they were told not to.
Yeah. That's
a fair thing to wonder.
That's a greater concern. Of course.
It is, and I hope
this is state-controlled media. State-controlled media right here. Do we want to get into do you have another WTF, or should we jump into
so we can have some fun tonight, folks. This is a good WTF. So Vegas Golden Knights are doing all sorts of goofy things around T-Mobile, and tonight there's going to be a dunk tank, Tony Cordasco, and you're going to be in it. No, I'm kidding. There is a dunk tank. There's going to be an Edmonton Oilers fan. I guess if you buy a 51.49 ticket, you can take a shot and dunk an Oiler. Heckler is the terminology they're using. And a good WTF. Oiler fans, VGK fans, this does not need to be a bunch of yelling and chirping amongst the fans in the stands tonight. Enjoy the game. Edmonton fans are here spending money in our casinos, in our hotels, in our food and beverage. They're going to see Cirque du Soleil tomorrow night. They're spending a lot of money. And listen, if they're not respectful, then so be it. But for the most part, Oiler fans have been great. Just because there's all this animosity does not mean we need to give each other dirty glares in the tunnels and throw stuff at each other. Let's just enjoy the game together. It's fun.
Okay. WTF. The refs are an absolute joke. This is at VGK Cringe. Some of the most blatant missed calls I've ever seen, from Stone getting dumped into the post. He never hit the post.
He hit the pad. He hit the goalie's pad.
He hit the
close to the
pad,
skates.
and almost his skate.
Close to the skates. Close to the skates.
Almost. Okay. From Stone getting dumped into the post to Petro getting boarded. They lost control of the game. It just devolved into a war zone. Okay. Michael Pico Jr. at Pico X Jr. We all know one of the WTFs is going to be about Petro. But WTF is up with people thinking Nurse won the Donnybrook against that elite fighter Haig. And by people,
it was a good fight. It was a draw.
Oiler fans.
It was a draw.
It was a good fight. It was a great fight. Okay. The real Mr. Hoot, who wanted us to do a Hershey Bears viewing party last night.
From his house.
Yeah. WTF. Those Hershey kisses. Darnell Nurse, that'd be a good endorsement with those kisses at the end of the game.
And Evander Kane, both.
WTF. Why didn't anyone say anything about Waz's first goal in the playoffs? I think Tony and Chris were busy writing receipts. WTF.
I gave a response. I said VGK scored.
Okay.
He did get cross-checked right before that goal by Draisaitl too. That's a crazy thing.
Okay. WTF. This is from the VGK Mucky. WTF is up with Oiler fans praying for players to get injured and comparing this series to a shooting. Yeah, that wasn't cool. And WTF was Petro thinking on the slash. He's one of the most important guys on the team, and he's going to get suspended, and he did. Of course, that came in before.
Let's not say that. I mean, Oiler fans, those aren't Oiler fans. Those are just random. And they told us to be nice. Those are people. Okay, you said it. Those are people just saying inappropriate things. They don't represent Oiler fans, just like there's VGK fans chirping as well. Those aren't fans. Those are just clowns behind an alias where they hide behind a name that doesn't even exist because they're too scared that someone might know what they're saying, which that's my WTF. WTF Vegas fans, stop complaining about the refs. Just stop. Okay. The refs have missed some stuff. They've not missed some stuff. Who cares? Vegas has to win a hockey game. Nothing else matters. James Hetfield.
I've got to counter with the WTF of my own here, because Evander Kane, now the way things are shaking out, truly should have been suspended for that cross-check to the head.
So you're complaining about the refs now. Okay.
But okay, if are they gonna start suspending players? It appears as though, yes, they're trying to get this under control at a late stage. This should have been done. If they wanted to gain control, they should have done this earlier in the season, not in game number 4. WTF. Oh,
no,
here's
that's
a good
fair.
one.
That's fair.
Okay, here's a good one. WTF. This is Chuck Dickerson. Is Theodore's girlfriend working for the Oilers? WTF. Boy, it's been a rough week for the Theodore family.
And a bad series for Theodore and his girl. That's for sure. They haven't fought their best.
Yeah, our good friend Seth McPherson. WTF?
Seth has been great.
Yes, absolutely. WTF? Isn't Amadio moving up the lines, shooting over 30% right now, and is keeping himself out of the drama? It's a good point to make. That's there, a great point. He's been really good as far as he's been low key, right?
Isn't he on line 2?
About him much.
Isn't he on line 2?
He's on line 2, correct.
There's not much more to go.
Okay, and then well, maybe he should be.
Someone's got to carry William Karlsson.
WTF also. WTF happened to Smith and Marchie's aim. My goodness, Marchie at 5%. Smith still goalless with 20.
But Marchie's
shots.
Just shooting at least. I'm okay with that.
Marchessault on the power play unit. Is that a good move?
Yeah, because he's going to shoot. Just get traffic. Like VGK is getting the one-timer from the elbows right now, especially Eichel, but they got to get a body there before that shot comes. And if the goalie sees it, they're going to save it, right? I mean, not all the time, but most of the time. Logan Thompson quote, if I see it, I'll save it. Plain simple.
Big key, big turnaround for Stuart Skinner in game number 4. Much better with his rebound control. That was
key. And he's got confidence now. I really wanted to see VGK get 1, even 2 more goals in that game just to get in his head a little bit. Unfortunately, that didn't happen.
VGK special teams, the power play was 0 for 4 in game number 4. They do have
They're
to
terrible.
break through.
That's the difference in the series right now. That's the difference. Yeah. End of story. None of your drama.
Okay, we'd like to thank our everydayers. Thanks for your contributions to WTF. Have a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there.
I forgot about that. Yes.
Yeah,
definitely.
We can't. Okay, I reminded you there. Go buy the flowers this morning. You have plenty of time.
I got our wrestling shirt.
Okay.
Cody Rhodes shirt.
Well, we got to follow this up on Monday. That's just too much. Our everydayers, thanks for making us the first listen. We'll see you again on Monday. We'll have a recap of tonight's game, and we will also preview game number 6. Thanks for joining us on Locked On Golden Knights.